Hi, my name is Jasmine Faith, and I'll be talking about handwriting forgery.
Forensic graphology is the study of handwriting. The term graphology was coined by Abbe Jean Hippolyte Mignon in Paris in the year of 1897 by combining two Greek words, graphein, which means to write, and logos, which is science. Forensic investigators use graphology to determine the personality traits of an individual, as handwriting reveals a person's emotional status while writing. Handwriting forgery is the duplication of someone's handwriting with the intent to create a document for fraudulent or other questionable uses. The most common form of forgery is forging signatures, but people can also forge handwriting to generate a handwritten document referring to the written by someone else. Detecting handwriting forgery requires a lot of experience and training in the study of handwriting. Before we can go in depth in the topic, it's important to learn about history of handwriting analysis or graphology. This is Abbe Jean Hippolyte Mignon. He was the first person to coin the term graphology. He was actually the founder of the Society of Graphology and the first person to give scientific grounds in the handwriting analysis, which led him to play a very important role that formed forensic graphology. The Mignon's work was continued by one of his pupils. He put the order of Mignon's work and divided the writing into 7 basic elements: speed, pressure, form, dimension, continuity, direction, and order. Integrative graphology focuses on the various strokes and the relation to personality of the individual. Holistic graphology bases on form, movement during writing, and the use of space. Forensic investigators use handwriting patterns or technology to determine the personality traits of an individual. Though, with that being said, he was not named the father of graphology. This title was given to someone else. This man here is Dr. Ludwig Klitz. He is regarded as the father of graphology. He was actually the high priest of the German School of Graphology, played a key role in establishing graphology as a valid branch of scientific research when he laid the theoretical foundation of modern graphology in his famous text on handwriting analysis entitled Handscript and Character Writing and Personality. He was also credited with applying Gestalt theory in handwriting analysis and is considered by many to be the father of modern graphology. Indeed, in the year of 1929, the 13th printing of Handscript and Character became a standard test in the psychology department of German universities and even the preference to the work of Sigmund Freud. The science of graphology has for many years been a tool to increase awareness of an individual's character or personality. 3,000 years ago, Nero actually stated that he has no trust for a certain individual because his handwriting showed him to be treacherous. Meanwhile, Aristotle believed that the spoken words are a form of mental experience while written words are a symbol of spoken words. He believed that men do not have the same sound of speech, so they would not have the same type of writing form. In the year of 3000 BC, Sumerian merchants actually recorded their first transaction in a recognizable script. In 500 BC, Confucius actually warned, "Beware of a man whose handwriting sways like a reed in the wind." This was actually a first form of the earliest observation made on a person's character from his handwriting. Ancient Chinese philosophers made assumptions about their personalities through the individual's writing style of calligraphy. The timeline here shows 3 different types of periods in history that played a very important role in the field of graphology. 1622 was the year that was regarded as the foundation of modern graphology. The Italians played a very important role and were significant contributors in the field of graphology.
It is from Italy that it actually gained its traction and recognition as a subject all over the world. The first ever printed publication on handwriting analysis was published by an Italian doctor named Tamil Baldi. This was actually titled as How to Judge the Nature and the Character of a Person from His Letter. He interpreted that writings of all writers are unique and there would not be any similarities between two samples. Next up would be the 18th century. The 18th century was actually very important as graphology was emerging as a tool to analyze handwriting in Britain in the 18th century. Ginsberg and several other graphologists, namely Abin Fladrine and Jean Mitron from Paris, have analyzed handwriting during that period. In 19th century, France actually had laid the foundation for the formal study of graphology. So during this time, graphology was actually now taught worldwide, including in Europe, Israel, North and South America, India, and China. So during the early 1900s, people have started using graphology for commercial purpose. There are 4 types of forgery: blind forgery, simulated forgery, trace forgery, and optical transfer.
Blind forgery is a type of forgery in where the forger does not have any idea or do not have any clue on how the handwriting of that person or signature looks like. This is just based on guesses from the name of that person or possibilities of how it's being signed or written. So this type of forgery is easier to detect as it does not look similar to the original component. So the common features are that I've said there is no resemblance between the original and the forged documents. Another features will be the fluency and the rhythm will be present. The forger will also use his natural handwriting characteristics as there is no model to be based off. Simulated forgery is also known as copy, freehand, or imitation forgery, in which a forger actually tries to copy the handwriting characteristic of the signature of a person. The forger will use a model to refer to when trying to forge the signature or the handwriting characteristics. So, this type of fraud can be easily detected because the exact characteristic of the model might not be present in mine. The extent of copying by a person depends on the skill of the forger and the victim. So, if the victim is highly educated, his handwriting skills would be much great, thus making it difficult for the forger. So the common features for simulated forgery would be careful retouching, inconsistent shapes or sizes of letters, defective curve, loops, line quality, frequent pauses, thick ending and initial strokes, variation in pace and rhythm. Trace forgery is a type of forgery that traces over a person's handwriting or signature. So this type of forgery is harder to detect as it is an exact copy of the original signature on handwriting. So the common features for trace forgery would be variations in space and no rhythm except for carbon tracing. An exact replica of the original handwriting characteristics. Tremors might be present and can be seen through the handwriting. There will be heavy pressures and thick strokes. The last type of forgery would be the optical transfer. This type of forgery requires the usage of photocopier, scanner, facsimile machine, or photography to transfer a genuine signature into a document. How can we actually detect the types of forgery stated earlier? Documents that could be possibly forged would be regarded as question documents. Graphologists would be in charge of actually observing these documents. These question documents will be observed under a microscope. So each letters written on the question documents will be observed carefully under a microscope and noted down for any characteristics. So after that, the copy of the letter and the original one will be placed side by side for comparison. It is important to actually observe all the letters, words written on the question documents, as it is important to prevent any form of forgery that could be detected. So every stroke, every curve, every line read must be compared with the original copy. Other than that, a video spectral computer is used to actually observe the handwriting in more detail. These instruments actually use a lot of filters and radioactive lights to actually observe stuff not visibly seen. These can actually detect the security features and also differentiate inks that are used in a question document. That's all from me. Thanks for listening.